Global supply chains organize the efficient production, distribution, marketing and consumption of the products that we use daily. Consider an Apple iPhone, which is produced by more than 600 different companies, located in more than 30 countries across the globe. Even though global supply chains are cleverly organized and supply products and services that may improve our qualities of life, the quality of other life is under pressure. Not a day goes by without alarming messages. Whether it's climate change, loss of biodiversity, exploitation of the poor, toxic materials in products or misleading marketing, it all tells us things should change if we want to continue working on a thriving society. Before we dive into solutions, we need to look at some inconvenient truths. Take our eco-footprint. Globally, we use the equivalent of 1.6 planet Earth. The Netherlands even uses the equivalent of more than 3 planets Earth. An average Dutch household consumes 3.5 sea containers of raw materials each year. In addition to ecological challenges, there are social challenges. Dutch households on average work 0.9 full-time equivalent. At the same time, 13.8 million day laborers from non-Western countries work for the Dutch economy. This equals 1.8 FTE per Dutch household. Often these laborers work under bad or even very bad conditions. A transition or even transformation is needed to make the economy sustainable. A transition to a circular economy is essential. There are many definitions of what comprises a circular economy, but it all boils down to an economy with a positive ecological and social footprint. In other words, this means that we use less than the equivalent of 1 planet Earth and do not demand more labor from someone else than we offer ourselves. The sooner we succeed in doing so, the more sustainable the future, and the less costs are required in the future to restore damage, if possible at all. The transition to an economy with a positive ecological and social footprint is not simple. We have to learn to unlearn. It is, as futurologist Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the future are not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. This is partly due to the global pursuit of economic growth. Economic growth is considered an important indicator of growth of quality of life, despite all negative consequences of production and consumption. Advocates of economic growth argue for decoupling. Whereas historically economic growth has always been accompanied by a growth in pollution, waste and emissions of greenhouse gases, green growth advocates envision an economy in which this strong correlation is decoupled. Opponents argue that there is neither empirical nor theoretical proof that decoupling is possible. Their main argument is that economic growth and ecological restoration cannot come together, since economic growth is always accompanied by a growth in the use of natural resources, such as water, raw materials and clean air. The opponents are backed by both theoretical and empirical evidence. Computer simulations of the research team of Monica Dietrich demonstrate that even when resources are deployed much more efficiently, growth continues to lead to an increasing usage. The British economist William Stanley Jevons explained that greater efficiency leads to lower usage costs. This stimulates people to use more instead of less. As a consequence, efficiency leads to a higher usage. This is called the Jevons paradox. What in any case remains is that the footprint must become positive. Circular supply chain management can facilitate this. A smaller footprint requires smart use of materials and energy. Supply chain management is about optimizing flows of goods, information and money. Think again of the iPhone and how much can go wrong in a complex network of 600 firms responsible for flows of materials, information and money. Supply chain management therefore focuses on making supply chains lean. Lean means that any form of waste in supply chains continuously is being eliminated. Waste thereby is any form of activity that does not add value for the end user. It can vary from not using someone's talents to not receiving components for assembly in the right order. If we apply the lean philosophy to the circular economy, it is about eliminating any form of waste of materials and energy. If we succeed, we can well reduce our footprint. Conceptually, it looks as follows. In practice, it can mean varying things. The companies in this MOOC illustrate that we can use materials and energy much smarter. If in addition we use products longer and do not buy products which do not add to our qualities of life, then it is well possible to reach a positive footprint. For companies, it all starts with setting, measuring and monitoring circular performance objectives that continuously inform the reduction of the company's footprint. If we simultaneously anticipate the Jevons paradox, then circular supply chain management can make an important contribution to a sustainable future. In the next videos, both companies and my research colleagues will demonstrate how this works in both theory and practice.